What about you?
I mean, ultimately, I would say that they're missing something from the relationship that they're having because ultimately, a healthy relationship should supply all of the needs to each person. So, I don't know if that's ridiculous or not, but I do think that that's a reason that men generally go outside is because they feel unfulfilled in the relationship that they have.
So you think of a man as fulfilled in his relationship, he's not going to want other women?
I mean, if you have great communication and you build a rapport and you've been together for a long time and you're monogamous and you're going outside of the relationship, something's wrong in the relationship. Therefore, the man is seeking something from someone else. Therefore, there has to be something misconstrued or miscommunicated between the two of you if that has not been happening.
Do you think men and women are fulfilled sexually the same way?
No, I do not.
So would it be fair to say the things that you just mentioned for fulfillment are feminine things that lead to fulfillment?
No, I think that men require or like more sex than women. I think women are more emotional, so we can kind of take it or leave it sometimes, especially as we get older. But men, but again, when men are older, I kind of have an age range theory. When you get to be an adult, you just kind of understand that shit doesn't fly anymore. Like if you want to have a marriage, if you want to have kids, you can't just want to be fulfilled and go sleep with someone. It's not sustainable. You're gonna get divorced, or the kids are gonna get hurt. Like it's just you gotta think about everything before you do it.
So does that mean that they're fulfilled if they're doing these things from an obligation, like a familial obligation, but they might not necessarily be fulfilled themselves?
If they're doing it because they don't feel fulfilled or familiar, sorry, these words are.
Let me keep it simple. Do you think one woman can fulfill all a man's needs?
I do, if it's communicated properly and the man tells the woman what, I mean,
Do you think communication is as important to men as it is for women?
I think that it should be. I mean,
But is it?
Honestly, yes, because if they communicated, we would do what they needed to do.
What if it's, I want other women and you can't fulfill that?
Well, then maybe that's not the relationship for you and him.
Interesting. Now it's not the relationship. See, this is why guys don't tell women the truth, bro.
And you had to open one. It didn't work.
Because I don't know if you've noticed it, but everything you mentioned for fulfillment is like the feminine side. It's not the male side. We don't care about communication and all this other bullshit that women like.
So you don't care about having a fulfilled relationship with your girlfriend and actually being in love and fulfilling that and feeling that? And
the problem is that we can be in love with our girl, but she's still not going to fulfill us sexually. Men typically want variety.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Yep.
And one girl simply can't do that.
Facts. Pizza, burgers.
Yeah.
Fish.
What if you ate the same food every single day?
I mean, it's the same idea as porn and the instant gratification of clicking and clicking and clicking.
Well, that should tell you something.
Yeah,
why is porn so ubiquitous in society today?
Because men can get that click and they can get that dopamine spike, and then unfortunately it creates a situation.
Let's go a step further. Why do men like porn?
Because they're looking to jack off more. Yes, because they do have more sexual. They want to get off more than women do.
No. Key is they want to get off how? Because they could just smash their girl if they want it, but why don't they do that?
The girl may not be available. The girl may be at work. The guy may be at work. I mean, like, guys get
the answer's
horny.
in your face. It's variety. It's variety, and women don't like to hear that, but the reality is it's variety.
I know that men want variety, but if they want to have a successful relationship and marriage and children, and that not to end in divorce, they're gonna have to learn to figure out how to control themselves, or you're gonna have a communication with that person where they can like go have sex with someone once a year.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You said you have high standards, right?
Correct.
You want a guy that earns a certain amount of money and a certain type of status, height,
that earns
etc.
a certain amount of money, but that has a job and a purpose and is not, a low life.
Are you going to yield on those standards at all?
What do you mean?
Are you going to lower them? No.
Not.
Nope. That's fine.
Not really.
That's cool.
No.
So you're not budging on your standards.
I don't like to. No.
So then why should men budge on their standards and deal with only one woman?
But if your standard is to fuck as many women as possible, then you should not be in a relationship monogamously with one woman.
But what I'm telling you is that that's what men typically want.
Well, then you shouldn't be in a relationship.
It's just that most men restrict that because of the response I'm getting right now. As a matter of fact, this is a very uncomfortable conversation for a lot of men to have with women, because women don't like to hear the truth that your pussy is not that special, and we want multiple women.
Well, that's fine.
We can love a girl for sure. She'll get the provisioning and the security and the last name. But men are always going to want sexual variety.
But then, pretty much, you're talking about in general polyamory. You're talking about
polygamy.
Yeah, you're talking about polygamy.
Yeah.
You're saying that all men want a.
Quick question for you: who wanted the polygamous relationship in the last one that you were in?
I did.
Oh, that's not normal.
No, it is normal.
No.
It's not.
Yo.
No, it's not.
It's
bro.
not.
If I was not fulfilled sexually by the partner that I had, and I told him that, and I said, hey, you know, there's this, I was opened up to a world of that because I was doing a lot of yoga and things like that, and those
Yeah.
people can get a little woo-woo.
Yeah.
So I was exposed to it, and I said, hey, let's try it. I was 25 at the time. I'm
Yep.
10 years later,
Yep.
okay? This lasted for about
But you don't want to do it now.
No,
Yeah.
because I'm an adult.
But what if I told you if you took a man and he was 35, it ain't going to change between 25 to 35. He's probably going to still want multiple women.
I mean, I'm 35.
And the reason for that is because I'm willing to bet the man that you were in, that you had this relationship with, this polyamorous, this open relationship, you probably had more sexual market value than him. You were more attracted than him. It was a gift that he was even in a relationship with you. You could have done better. You knew you could have done better.
Yes.
Therefore, you were like, okay, I will go ahead and get my provisioning and security in a relationship from you because you're a pussy. However, I will go ahead and have sex with more attractive and or date better men than you because I can. And he can't do anything because you have the leverage in the relationship. Would that be fair to say?
I allowed him to do the same thing.
Did you allow him to
allowed.
do the same thing? See, keyword, you
well,
allowed
because
him to do the
this is
same
the thing. That when you have a relationship that's open, you have to talk about boundaries. You have to say,
Of
like,
course.
am I a priority person? And then, do you talk about the sex that you're having with other people? Do you not talk about it? Like, there's a whole lot of boundaries and things that you need to speak about if you're going to have.
So imagine when you were
polyamorous
25, right?
relationship.
You were like probably at your peak or whatever, and you were able to,
Women in their
exude.
sexual peak at 30, but keep going.
That's actually not true. But
No, it is true. You can look
that's
it up. But go
actually
for it.
not true.
all right.
And let's make sure. So okay, let me. Because she's probably speaking from a feminine perspective that women are in their peak. Maybe they're like more sexual in their 30 or whatever. But for
No,
men,
it's
we
not.
find you the most attractive sexually between 18 and about 25.
Okay, that's what you find attractive.
Yes.
But our
men in general.
sexual peak, because we actually have explored our bodies for years,
Yeah, sure.
is in our 30s.
But that's irrelevant because that's like me saying, well, technically an 18-year-old boy is at his sexual peak because he's horny all the time. But who cares about an 18-year-old guy because he's useless to society?
Correct.
He's not sexually attracted to the opposite gender, so it's irrelevant. Same thing with a 30-year-old woman, no offense. Does that make sense?
I don't.
Like, just because you're at your sexual peak doesn't mean that the other gender is going to be aroused by that.
Yeah.
Because just like a man who's 18 hasn't created his value at that point, and he's not attractive to a majority of women that are 18 or 19 or 21 that can get with a guy that's 35 that's created his value, a woman that's 30 has lost her value.
So at 35 years old, I have now
Sure.
lost all. So you're saying, just correct me if I'm wrong, that because I'm 35,
Mm-hmm.
I have lost all of my value, even though I am a successful woman that is making money and financially secure, and I'm happy.
No, that's
But
fantastic.
I've lost all of my value,
You
so
lost
so
X
no
too.
woman is gonna
No.
so no man is gonna marry
Let me be very clear about this because
Okay.
women tend to misconstrue this and take this personally. Your sexual market value and how men find you attractive versus your personal success are completely different. For men, it's not because our sexual market value is dependent on our success and our status and our stature. Women's, however, is not dependent upon that. This is why a man that's a millionaire can easily date a 19-year-old that works as a
Also
bartender.
depends what social economic class you're dating.
Realistically speaking, men are open to dealing with women that are not on the same socioeconomic level as themselves. However, women don't do the same, typically.
Depends. It's very hard to date outside your socioeconomic class.
For women. For men, it's not, is my point.
I mean, unless they just want to take care
Which
of
is why
someone.
when women, like, they get very offended when I say this, that when I say their sexual market value isn't high when they're in their 30s. And the truth is it's not as high as a girl that's 25, unfortunately, because men look for different things in the opposite gender. I mean, this is just biology. It is what it is.
Sure, that could be your opinion, but the people that I've dealt with,
It's a
definitely
biological
haven't.
fact.
Okay, sure.
They've done studies on this. They polled men between 18 and 60 years old, and they found men found that women between 18 to 25 years old were universally the most attractive to them.
That I agree with. I also don't believe I look 35, but that's irrelevant.
I mean,
But
again,
like I said, I asked you, so I'm 35 years old.
Yeah.
And I look young. Most people think I'm about 23 to 25, which I don't care what people think. I honestly don't.
Sure.
But you're literally saying because I'm 35 and men the general statistics are 19 or 18 to 20
That's typically when a
5-year-old
woman is
women.
most
So
attractive
now
to the opposite gender. Yes.
I am now off the market and an old maid.
I didn't say that.
By statistics, you did.
I'm simply saying that you are not going to command the same dominance in a dating marketplace that you did 10 years ago when you were able to exert the force that you did on your ex-boyfriend, where he was pretty much cucked into a relationship where he was in a situation. I mean, you said it yourself. The relationship didn't get along because it's not in a man's natural inclination to be with a woman when she's with other men.
I closed it because I wasn't comfortable with the open relationship.
Even better.
That's
Proves
even
my point
better.
that women don't like variety.
Yep.
Well, it's
But men
actually
do.
both of us,
No.
to be honest, but
Y'all
whatever.
skipped me, but I want to talk about this next, okay?
You're a virgin, right?
No, I want to talk about this next.
Okay.
I want to talk about
Okay.
this next,
Well,
about
okay,
the
sure.
variety.
I'll give it to you. But this is because women tend to look at it like I'm attacking their personal value. It's fantastic that you make money and you're successful. I'm not attacking you there. You probably make more money than a lot of guys, which is great. But I think women need to be cognizant of the fact that when you're successful and you make money and you're older, you're limiting your very pool of candidates that want you, because guys that make money typically want to date women that are younger and more attractive, and men typically date what they can. And if they make more money
Okay.
and have more status, they'll go that way.
That's fine, but we're also more equipped to be mothers and to raise healthy children and
Not
to
really. I mean, once you
provide
hit-
for them. I mean, like,
Once you hit 30 years old, like most of your eggs are gone. By 35, it's a high-risk pregnancy. This is not my opinion. This is biological fact. Any doctor will tell you this.
we are in a little bit of a new age, so
The
it's,
new age?
Freezing eggs is not as...
I mean, is the DSM-5 still relevant? No.
What?
The DSM-5 is what classifies all psychological things. The
Okay.
DSM-5 was written over 20, 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
okay? The DSM-5 is what all therapists and psychiatrists use to
Yep.
diagnose you for an anxiety disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, whatever it is.
Sure.
The DSM-5 is so outdated that it still does not have the things that have
We mean bodies, ovaries.
Yeah, but
not-
we're
no,
talking-
I'm
we're
not
not-
talking about that. Like, there's not the narcissistic personality disorder is not in the DSM-5. Like, certain characteristics of people think like the bipolar 1, 2, and 3. These things are not necessarily.
I mean, I
The
understand.
DSM-5
Okay.
is not. It's not updated. So.
That's understandable, but we're talking strictly from the ability to bring children, right, from birth in a healthy fashion. Any doctor that you go to, they're going to tell you it's a high-risk pregnancy at 35.
Of
Yeah,
course, but
you
how
lost
many?
eggs.
Of course, but how many women have children in their 30s and are totally fine?
Of course, that's always the I'm not saying it's not possible, but you significantly reduce your chances of bringing a child to term in a healthy fashion once you pass 30. I mean, this is a biological fact. This is not what I think. This is not my opinion. This is true and found, like, medical stuff. It is what like any doctor, if you're in your 30s, they're going to tell you, hey, look, just so you know, this is considered a high-risk pregnancy. And then
Correct.
35, even more so.
No, correct.
Could you imagine, right? I go to Whole Foods. I buy a crate of eggs, right? There's supposed to be 12 in there. There's only 6. Why would I buy it?
Okay. That,
You get what I'm saying?
that's
So as a
not.
guy, that's the comparison right there.
It's not. You can't compare 2 eggs missing from a you can't, okay, you can't no, you said 2 are missing from the pack.
Out of 12, 6 were missing.
Oh, out of 12, sorry. I thought
Yeah.
you said 2 were missing.
Yeah, 6.
So, but
That's a lot.
But that's not
It's actually more
what the
like
fuck?
80% of the eggs are gone
Yeah,
by 35.
Even more.
So then how are all of these women in their 30s having successful children?
But you don't know how many failed
Failures,
attempts they
Yeah,
had.
they've been
Yeah.
trying.
You don't know how many babies passed away during the process. You don't know how many of them were born with mental ailments or maybe autism or some other defect.
Look, I'm
Like,
not saying that it's easy.
You're just seeing the W's, but you didn't see all the L's.
No, I
Trust
have
me,
seen
I
the
know.
L's because
Yep,
I
fresh
did.
nose.
No, I
Trust
had
me, I know.
Yep,
I had a
fresh
friend that
nose.
had a miscarriage that was 39 years old, and she went in for a sonogram, and there was no heartbeat, and that was
It's
terrible.
devastating, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But if she was 19,
Yep.
not necessarily
been
though,
good.
because a lot of it can be genetics.
of course.
Yeah,
But
That just
there's
don't match.
but the probability would have went up significantly had she been 19 versus
Yep.
being 39.
Okay.
Come on,
also,
man.
once you have your first child, you're more fertile.
Okay, when you have your first child when you're younger, right? I mean,
Well,
but like,
no, it doesn't matter. Any age. If you have a child
age?
at 35 years old, you are more likely to get pregnant. That's just that.
so
is
wouldn't it be
fact.
more intelligent to have that child when you have the best chances of having that child when you're young?
But if you don't have money and means to take care of that child, it would be irresponsible to bring a child into
Well,
the
this
world
is
that
why I
you
think
can't
men
care
need to be
for.
breadwinners, and I think women need to be,
And
back
I
in the
agree.
kitchen.
I agree with you, but the men don't want to make money anymore, and that sucks.
Understandable,
Well, you could thank feminism for that.
Yep.
but that was your doing.
Yep.
Not my doing.
The man you chose. Yeah.
Hold on, I have a
No,
question.
the man that
I mean-
the man that I dated for a couple of years when I was what 13 years ago. I don't
The
think
guy
that's
you open relationship?
13 years ago. Yeah, I don't think that's relevant anymore.
The open relationship guy, right?
Yeah, that I dated 13 years
Was
ago.
he successful? He had made a bunch of money?
No, he grew up to be a dumb loser Spotify musician.
Hey, you picked him.
No, I didn't. I dumped him 13 years ago.
But you picked him 13
Well, that explains. Well, that
Yes, but
explains
he
the,
wasn't
why it was
doing that
open
then.
relationship. That
Yeah,
explains.
like-
Well, girl,
Anytime I've ever seen a girl be in
bro?
an open relationship with a man, the man is significantly ailing in some type of regard. Whether he's ugly, doesn't make money, he's weird, he's something is off. Whenever a girl wants an open relationship,
Yo,
no
chat-
offense.
Yo,
I
chat
mean, he
saying
straight up
piece
had a
of
small
smash.
penis.
Yo, but
Real quick,
he's just smash though.
Come on, man.
real quick. You had a question, right?
Yeah.
And you did too.
Yeah, and she
Y'all
wanted to say
skip
something. Sure.
me.
Yeah, go.
Hold on,
no,
we-
she wanted to go
got you.
first.
Yeah, y'all
before
literally
you
skip
speak,
me.
Let's go to Rumble.
Oh,
I'm about
shit.
to expose somebody right now.
No, I
shit.
have something to say
On the
first.
no, let me say it first, nigga. Let's go to Rumble, guys. Come
Oh,
on
man.
over. This is gonna be
Goddamn,
special
here
for
we
you.
go.
Oh,
The
my
mods
God.
got the scoop.
right.
Mods, man.
All right, come on over
We
to
got the scoop.
Rumble, guys, real
Let me
quick, and then let's let her
Come
say
on
her
over, guys.
piece, and then we'll come on over to Rumble.
Cool.
All right, guys, come on over to Rumble. We got Come on
Hilarious.
over, guys. Come on over. Rumble right now. Rumble.com/.